right, what's going on, everyone? So yeah, this is a live stream for Deus article, specifically the Sports Square. Now, I figured instead of just talking about sports in general, I'd focus on hockey. Right now, we have the Rangers playing the Dallas Stars. The Rangers are up 2-1 with Capo Caco scoring his second goal of the season and Vincent Trocheck getting his fifth. We have the Eagles-Chiefs game going on. It's a rematch of the Super Bowl, and that's been a little stagnant. The score is 7-7. But I figured I'd talk about hockey because it's Rangers season. My Giants season is over. The Knicks, while they're middle of the road, we'll see what happens with them. But these Rangers have been really outperforming every expectation I've had for them so far. I mean, you look at last year, and especially the way they got bounced in the playoffs to New Jersey, it was humiliating. Now, if I could just go back to that, I remember I was at, I want to say it was some bar I was out. I was watching the game with my dad, and it was Game 7, and this was after the Rangers somehow won Game 6 in Jersey, and you kind of had momentum, like, all right, they were up 2-0, then they lost 3 straight, they won 1 in Jersey, so this is a fresh start, As they say, when it's like a touchdown in football and then another touchdown, it's 7-7, but they say the score is 0-0, so the series was 0-0. This is a one-game playoff. And, I really expected them to, did what they did 2 years prior where, it's Game 7 and my expectations are low, but they somehow find a way to win, and they didn't. And I remember just leaving the bar, and I wasn't even screaming or yelling. I was just muttering under my breath, I can't believe they did it. I cannot believe this team did it. Of course, I'm cleaning it up because we're live right now, and you viewers, I don't want to, say some curse words because that's just is not the right audience. But no, I left there and I was just so disappointed and angry. I mean, there's that whole saying, parents have where I'm not upset, I'm disappointed in you. But I was both. I was upset and disappointed. But getting back, I got really off track because I kind of had a flashback. Because right now, they're in intermission, so I can't really show you anything. They're just car commercials and everything. And plus, it might be copyrighted if I show you the TV screen. But, coming into this year after last year, I was really not happy. I think they blew it. I was saying to my friends, this is it. I can't see them, ever winning a Stanley Cup, which, is something that my dad had to wait. He had to wait 40 plus years to see, being a Ranger fan, going through all that misery. And I watched him losing the Stanley Cup once. He's seen him lose twice before winning one. So I don't want to go through the same thing. Anyways, I'm getting off track again. But, they fired Gallant, and I don't think last year was on Gallant itself. I think he was an okay head coach. I think coming off of Quinn, he was like a hire you needed to make. And I did think that he could take this team to the promised land and possibly win it all. But, I thought last year was more on the players, and they let go of Gallant, but I understand if the players didn't like Gallant, yeah, they're not going to play well, even though the loss in that series and how badly they played really is on the players. I mean, you want to blame the head coach all you want, but it comes down to the effort on the ice. So, after they fire Gallant, I'm hoping they hire Chris Knobloch, who was, I should say, the AHL coach for the Hartford Wolfpack, their AHL team. And the reason I wanted him was back in 2021, the COVID year, when David Quinn, who was the head coach of the Rangers at that time, went down with COVID for 9 games. Knobloch came in and he went 6-3, and the Rangers looked like a new team, and they looked inspired and they were having fun. And it's the total opposite of the Quinn games through all those years. But then they hired Peter Laviolette, and look, hockey has, specifically the NHL, has a culture where you have a lot of retread head coaches. Like you look at Gallant, he's been a head coach 4 different times. Laviolette 5+ times. The GMs, it's kind of like all right, we're going to hire the people we know, and it's very rare that they bring a young coach up or somebody new. But Laviolette at least won a Stanley Cup, whereas Gallant went to one and lost. But granted, he went. But, Laviolette has done a great job so far. This team looks inspired. They're scoring without Hedel, who was a big contributor last year. Adam Fox, who was the best offensive defenseman on the team. Dare I say, the best defensive defenseman on the team. I know that should be true, but Fox, who's a cornerstone of this franchise. They're playing really well and very inspired hockey. And, it was funny. Before Laviolette got hired, there was this clip circulating around of the 2011 outdoor game between the Rangers and the Flyers. And at that time, Peter Laviolette, who's now the Rangers head coach, was the Philadelphia Flyers head coach. And then back in 2011, the Rangers head coach was John Tortorella, who is now the Flyers head coach. So that kind of plays into about how in hockey that these coaches just get rehired and rehired no matter how bad they do. But let's get back to this. The Rangers up 2-1 against Dallas. Dallas is a very, very good coach team. They're doing a very good job. And I'm not a Peter DeBoer fan, but he's doing a really good job with this team. I know he had a rough tenure in Vegas in his previous stops, but he seems to be doing a good job. And yeah, he's a retread coach, but you at least hope, if you're a Dallas Stars fan, that this doesn't continue. Now, funny enough, I brought up Knobloch. I know I'm jumping from here to here, but man, I haven't really gone in depth about hockey in such a very, very long time. So it's a little exciting for me. So you got to give me a little chance to kind of calm down here a little bit. But the Oilers fired their head coach, and that wasn't a surprise. When you have Connor McDavid, who's Gretzky 2.0, some people say he's better than Gretzky. That's not my decision to make. I never seen Gretzky play. I have seen this guy on the ice, and he was like all over the place. I saw him at an Islander game, because that's the only way I could afford to see McDavid is going to an Islander game, not a Ranger game. But McDavid was all over the place. He didn't have any goals or anything, but it was crazy seeing him on the ice. Now, they have two of the best players in hockey, McDavid, and when you have a star like McDavid, you can't piss him off. You can't ruin your chances of winning with him because he is a once-in-a-lifetime talent. You have Leon Draisaitl as well, who could be a cornerstone of a franchise if McDavid wasn't there. And, you just failed at every end. The playoffs, you guys made it, the Oilers made it far, but to lose to Vegas like that, you don't want that. You want to go all the way, especially when, we didn't think Vegas was going to be this good. And then, they end up winning the Stanley Cup against Florida, a very good Florida team, who, by the way, is still doing very good in Vegas. Looks like world beaters again. But they fire their head coach, and now they bring in Chris Knobloch. So the guy I wanted the Rangers to get as their head coach, he's coaching McDavid, and I'm very happy for Knobloch. I think he could be a hell of a head coach, but I wanted him. I wanted him as a backup plan just in case Laviolette doesn't work. Because you know what? You hired two retread coaches. It's time to bring in somebody, a guy who won at this level, who rallied the guys on the team after David Quinn, who everybody hated, just failed miserably at everything. I understand that he inherited the rebuilding team and everything, but when Capo Caco, who was the second overall pick, is looking lost at every turn, so you're doing something wrong, unfortunately. But so, anyways, back to the live right now. They only got the intermission highlights. It's second intermission, I should say, and this Rangers team looks inspired. I'm very happy with it, and I'm going to tell you another story now that I think of it. So last year, it was the first year I went to see my family in Spain since I was 3. Now, this has to do with hockey. So, me and my dad were thinking about the trip back 2 years, so 2 summers ago. So when the Rangers made it to the Eastern Conference Finals against Tampa Bay. So we're talking about then. We were kicking the tires about going to see my family, which I hadn't seen in forever. And I was like, okay, I'm excited. I haven't seen them in forever. You know, it's a nation I haven't seen, or I barely even remember. But I had a fear in the back of my mind that the year that I go to Spain is the year the Rangers win the Stanley Cup. So I was like, oh man, I was like, when the seeding was complete and they were playing New Jersey, I was like, all right, I want them to beat New Jersey and get out. Because look, I want them to win the Stanley Cup, but I would like it if I was here so I could go to the parade, you know. And I'm not saying that I'm rooting against the Rangers. I was just like, I would be so upset that the year they win is the year I'm out of the country. So this summer I'm going back to see my family. I'm going to spend the summer there, you know, try and pick up the language, and I have some legal things to take over there, to take care of while I'm over there with, you know, possibly, you know, with some properties and everything. I'm not going to go into that, but now I got that fear again because this team looks better than they were last year. Last year they won 10. They came out of the gate flying out and they looked like world beaters. And now they're doing the same thing. Except I don't think this team is going to fall off a cliff like the Rangers did last year, where Gallant was almost going to get fired if they lost to St. Louis early in the season. If you could remember back that far, but yeah, no, this is going to be a good season. I'm really excited. I want them to win the Stanley Cup, but I wouldn't be too upset if they win it next year when I'm back in the States. But you know, the Rangers have a tendency of pulling the rug out underneath their fans. So it's either they win the cup where I'm out of the country, or when I come back, they're horrible. But I digress. So I think I'll leave it here. That's enough chatting. Make sure you check out Deus articles and the Sports Square. I'm going to start uploading more and more blogs. I have a video project I'm working on. I'm going to post this live stream on there as well. And there's going to be a social media page dedicated to this. Right now I'm doing this on my personal account. But I hope you all join me on this journey, because I want to build a blog that engages with fans and everything. You know, a forum where if the Rangers somehow start taking a nosedive, I can rant about, and try to make it fun. Like, I don't want to write. Excuse me. I don't want to write a blog that's just plain and simple or anything like that. That's boring, like any other sports blog that Joe Schmo puts up on a website and calls it the new. I don't have a name for it, like a made up name, but like, I want to make it fun. I want to make it interesting. If I write an editorial, I want to put a sense of humor on it. I want to make it something that if I saw it, I would read it, and I try to keep that in mind. You know, reading a paper, you know, especially my generation being 22, our attention spans are short. So, I want to encapsulate the viewer, and I want them to be returning, and I want to make content that the users like. You know, it's a sports blog by a sports fan for the sports fans. Let me take that one more time, because I don't want to leave the live stream off on that. Sports Square, I want it to be a blog about sports and sports fans, written by a sports fan for sports fans. So I'll leave it off there as the Rangers start the third period right now, hoping for a W, 2-1. But I'll catch you on the flip side. Make sure you keep your eyes open for new things on Deus articles, and specifically the Sports Square. All right. Catch you on the flip side.